Welcome back. Today I'm going to take yet another stab at a 3D model. For those of you who have been following along, I have attempted to model in several ways, and in fact I can show you. That over here, these two characters are handled differently, and the child is currently set up a little wrong, but if I were to set this up right, which I'm not going to do because this is just for demonstration, you would see thicker outlines around the legs to match this. And so I have two options here that kind of work for showing outlines in 3D. And in many ways, the one I'm using here is easier, except as soon as I try to make sure all the lines are the same thickness, it gets much harder. Whereas this one looks pretty nice for the most part, but takes a bunch of effort. By default, and let me see if I can find this. Yeah, by default, it looks like this. It's missing this outline, and you can get it so that you don't see the outline around the leg at all, and that's just bad. And what I have going on here is I very carefully placed a bunch of vertices so that there is yellow in front of the body, but the moment I start moving the leg, both of them, the moment I start moving the leg at all, the vertices I put to show the yellow line start clipping through, and you can't see them anymore. So it's only via very careful positioning that shows, and that's just not sustainable in terms of like being able to animate a character rather than having a set position. Yeah, as they're discussing in chat, I was originally planning to do a coding stream today. That didn't happen because I didn't get everything ready in time. And also, like, part of the reason I didn't get everything ready in time was because I had this new idea for modeling, and I went off and spent some time on that. And so this is at least closer to something I can show you, so I'm showing it. Currently I've gone and set it up the way I just showed, except a little flatter. You can't tell where the colors are. Could bring them back. You can't tell where the shading is. But under the surface, there's a little more going on here. Like before, what it is two objects inside one another. There's an object here that is just a solid thing that you can see. The tricky one is this, which is an object surrounding it all the way, but you can only see it from the inside, so you can look through it and see the inner arm color, the proper arm color, but then wherever the inner object isn't is this outline color instead, which is on the inside of the object I'm currently selecting and moving. Separate object, solid. And the thing about this object is that you can't really tell how it's shaped like this, but that there at the end is a solid here, if I get rid of all of this, you can see that there is a solid circle in the middle at the end, and when we put it all the way back here, that circle is deep inside the body. And yet we're going to use that circle to display the arm from this angle. We're going to be looking at that circle to get an outline here. And how that's done is over here with a modifier, which in-game will probably be replaced by clever shader work, but in Blender, it provides it as a modifier. It's easy to do. We're doing it the easy way for testing and all. A Boolean modifier means that it can test like if this and that, or if this and not that. And I think it's per pixel, so it's like every pixel it wants to draw, it tests, is this within... Oh wait, no, that's not... That might be how it renders it. It's not how it wants you to think about it. How it wants you to think about it is this surface only exists if union means that the surface only exists if it's outside this object. And so you remember this object, it's a full object even though you can see through it sometimes. This whole circle where it intersects, a Boolean modifier is going to just cut a hole in the body object where the arm is. And if we display that, suddenly we can see a lot more outline. We're seeing all the way through to that circle in the back. Also, I think I may have just solved another problem, which is... Actually, I'm going to explain the problem before I solve it. But currently, the point of this is that by cutting along the surface here, we get to see outline instead. And so from this angle, we get a nice... we get to see more of that outline. By cutting out more of it at this angle, we get to see the circle in the back and just see the whole arm. It's really nice for visuals. And then legs, again, turn on the modifier. Again, there's something further inside, and we can see through and see that. And now we can see the leg even from this angle, whereas my previous attempt, you would only get this, and it was pretty terrible. So I am feeling pretty good about this. I'm just... there are various things like this. Seeing a bit of a thing there is a problem. At this angle, I don't want to see that. And I just realized on stream that that's because the small inner arm object is too small. And if I extend it much deeper and maybe like that. Oh. Actually, we're going to do it in a few more steps. We extend it all the way in so it goes further past the circle. You can see here how it's if I get this and I get those out of the way, you can see how it extends past the bottom circle. So wherever there's supposed to be arm, we will see arm. And so now at this angle, we just see arm, and it's only at a real steep angle that we get the circular outline. I'm going to turn down the music. to turn up the volume as much as I can. And hopefully this will make me a little more audible. I found a good microphone, but it's also a very quiet microphone. Oh boy, that might mean that I have to go back and explain all of that, but hopefully it's starting to sound better. Yeah, I am a quiet person, it's true, but I also blame the microphone. This microphone is worse than other microphones I've used in terms of volume. It's a quality microphone in general, it's just a low volume microphone. So, okay. Hope I don't. As I was saying, I hope I don't need to explain all of that again, but I'll explain this really quickly. Let's go back. I did previous attempts at doing outlines, and they had problems depending on the angle you looked at them from. My solution is this fancy Boolean modifier. It's not actually that fancy, but when you turn it on, it essentially cuts out a circle from this object here, where it intersects with the outline object. Got to get it the right angle to even see that intersection, but yeah, where that circle is, with the correct Boolean, you can just make it not render that part of it. And so the dark outline you're seeing is this circle from all the way back there is dark. And so you can see that at this angle, but not this angle because, like, well, this object goes up this far. And so overall that makes a better for outlines. It does this thing where it's slightly circular, but I don't know, it's not too far off from how I draw that. One thing I was talking about earlier is how I don't like how early you start to see this line, and then I realize that's just my fault. This inner piece for the leg color is just not nearly long enough. And if we extend it far enough that it goes through the back circle, oops. Something like that. Is that through the circle? A little further. There we go. If we extend it there, then it takes a lot longer before this line starts to actually get in the way. If I thought it's, honestly, that's fine. For the arms, I might make it deeper. So that's basically this stage of this stream is just going to be me playing around with this until I think it looks good, and I guess give feedback if you have thoughts on it. pushing that far enough back. If I get rid of that, I can see. Okay, yes. So the inner part needs to... cursed image, by the way, but the inner part of the arm needs to extend further in than the outline. And then... and that kind of solves all of this. It's got this nice consistent width outline for most of the time, and if you happen to look at it from this angle, it covers that as well. But if you don't look at it from that angle, it looks like a normal arm. Then I guess the next step that I need to do is let's do an antenna. We'll start with the inner piece. And actually, we're going to do relative offset. We're going to make the antenna just like it was before. Pretty sure we don't need the faces there. And if we add a curve, I forget what the object's called, but oh, it's Bezier. That's what it's called. Okay, what's it? That's a long trailing thing, but I guess the arrows themselves don't scale. Yeah, the arrows don't scale, so I just pushed them close together and the arrows were much bigger than everything else. So we're going to make this curve the shape that I want the antenna in. Wait. I don't know that there's an easy way to cut it in half, so I want to make it enough guiding points for later. I'll push them a little closer together and make a fourth one. Actually, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, I need to move that differently. I need to... That is a lot of arrows for one antenna. But I think it's fine. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm only going to be using this curve to make set the default shape. Wait a minute. No, I'm not going to use the curve at all. I'm going to... We're T-posing here. It's going to be pretty much straight. And then we will use the armature to rotate it. There we are. So the color is off, and the shading is off. Okay, so for the color, we're going to vertex paint. It's 0.6. It is. At least that's a match for here. I think the piece at the end should be its own thing. Yeah, I think that's fine. Put this over here. I think we make the antenna just a little shorter. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to do that. Yeah. Ideally, I want this, like, I want to replace, or I want to do new graphics in 3D, and at some point I might even replace all the old ones with this. But yeah, I'm coming back to it several times just so that I can make it look okay, because the previous ones, there was always something off about it. So far, this is looking okay. Okay, and so we're doing another of these. We're making a copy that is larger and only visible from the inside. And the color is, I think it's that. I think it is that, and I got the color wrong on the others. Oh, no. It's not even that. It's okay, it's even... Got the colors right eventually. Runaway. I'm going to go over that in a future stream. Probably the one... Well, no, I can't guarantee it's the next one. But I will get to that on stream. And so now I need to figure out, is it important to do anything fancy for the ends of the antenna, like with the arms and legs, or is it okay for them to just cut off like that? Because you aren't actually going... No, wait, you are. You are. When the antenna bend, you're going to see... This isn't actually related to converting to JavaScript. This is the next step. I figured as long as I was converting, I've also long wanted to make 3D models. As long as they looked right. That selected everything. Hey, what else do I... Okay. It still needs to be less flat. So I copied the modifier where it cuts out around these. I guess this is another good view of how that modifier works. If you get an angle. It sort of cuts through. But yeah, this one, we don't need those modifiers because it's... This is the outline again. I could use some more. This could use some more. In fact, I could take out some of those vertices and save rendering time. If I can't automatically select a row of these things. It'll be easier to start over. $20. Yeah, we're gonna... A lot of effort to save a few vertices, but part of the point is that this should hopefully be quick to render. These vertices are a little more useful, but yeah, I'm gonna leave them for now. Okay, so my main concern with this is that you can get stuff like this, because it's... Drawing it by hand, I would obviously not do this, but this is attempting to do it automatically, and... Sorry. Yeah, it's just one object in front of another, and sometimes when one is in front of another, and it's cutting through at the right point, you get this. And I really don't know what to do about that. Like, that's... you can also see that with arms and legs at the same time. You get little... all four of them. Yeah, head on. All the way around, there's a little line in between you and absolutely everything. So from a lot of angles it works great, and that's really useful because it means I don't have to draw 50 angles if I want to show the character from 50 angles. But yeah, there are just some angles where it's off. And like, I've been thinking about, is there a way to ensure this doesn't happen? Like, is there a rule I can enforce where if I don't know what the rule would be, because any rule I can think of is suddenly bad in another situation. From this angle, we want this object to block this one. We want this to be blocked by this. So if I make a rule that this can't block this from an angle like this, it will also mean it will also mean that this one shows through from this angle, which is actually not right. And if I make a rule that that this one more easily blocks this one, then it might end up blocking it here, which is bad. In fact, it might even end up blocking it here, which is awful. I can't think of a consistent rule for... Oh, and for fast rendering, there's not something like a test for this exact situation. Do a sanity check to make sure this... Like, you can't directly ensure this doesn't happen. If anything, you gotta do something clever. So yeah, it just works from a lot of situations, or from a lot of angles, but there are just a few where it's a little off. But it's still a step up from the previous one, where in terms of ease of making these, this is on par with my other solution. Might be time to go grab a reference image, because this is the one with the fewest difficulties I've come across. Like my other one, my one with the custom shader was going to turn into a problem when I needed to manually set how thick the line should be at any given point. That turned it from a click and done solution to a do lots of work, and it's still not quite right. This one requires a little work of I need to make this these extra objects, but now that I've solved the thing where I need to exactly line up this circle back here, that one, with the surface, now that I don't have to line it up, this is going to be the easiest to do. Still looks wrong. A little shorter. I think if I want to get it exactly right, I do need to dig up a reference image. Said I will also need to re-rig this armature. I think currently... Oh, there are some vertex groups around here. I'm going to get rid of all of those. I want to re-rig this from scratch. Because I'm a little worried that all the stuff I changed has messed with. It's messed up the rig. That as soon as I try to move the rig, things will jump around, or who knows. For the main reason we're going 3D, or hopefully going 3D, is that it will make development faster in the long run. Well, that and in an earlier stream, in Krita, okay, it was a much earlier stream. I drew a frame of the angel. It was okay, but animating in Krita, vector animations are not well supported, and they've kind of been on the to-do list for years without ever actually getting done. So vector animations in Krita are likely to remain really slow, unnecessarily hard. Okay, I'm sorry, what's even going on here? Well, I was planning to do something simple, but apparently that's not happening, so... we're gonna leave that. In 3D, getting back to that, like when I rig this up, I will be able to... I'll be able to quickly grab and... I'm sorry, how many things do I have selected? I have that selected. Okay, yeah, I will be quickly able to grab a leg and... well, they're mirrored. Point what... I'll be able to move a leg around easily. I'll be able to move an arm around easily. I can do facial expressions independently of arms and legs. In 2D, every time I want a different pose or a different facial expression, or an existing pose with an existing facial expression, but I'd never done that exact combination before, any of those things, I had to go make an entirely new frame and insert into a sprite sheet. And I've proven it's still possible to make a sprite sheet with Krita without... like, ever since I switched computers, I haven't been using Flash Pro, now known as Animate. But in terms of technology changing and also, say, having to do less work per frame of a cutscene, reuse fewer exact poses and everything, 3D will make everything significantly easier. Pre-existing cutscenes will be changed if people decide the style is good enough. Especially if I decide the style is good enough. But ideally, yeah, I'd like to... if I can get this to look as good as the original, then I will be changing everything. And perhaps adding more animations. I'll be able to do smoother things. I'll be able to do tweens where instead of the skater bowling through and in like showing 3 frames of it, the runner being knocked over in a frame or 2, I can actually show her getting smoothly tossed. Tossed out of the way. Just move, rotate. Also, have the limbs move. I'll be able to do cooler animations. It'll open up options. Anyway, I guess it is time to start rigging. I have put that off long enough. I need to double check. Our armature. Hello. Edit. Excellent. Oh, okay. I guess if I'm going to use... I'm going to rename these as long as I'm at it. So, the shoulder sort of determines where the arm starts. By moving this... When in pose mode, when I move this, it will move the entire arm, because the arm starts here. But it could start at that point, it could start at that point. But I don't think it makes sense to use elbow, wrist. Like, I don't think it makes sense to use those names, because they are just more flexible than that. So we're going to number them. Legs are never shown doing much more flexibility. Okay, as for the eye, kind of looks like I've moved it down since then. You know what? Hang on. I am going to grab a reference image. Yeah, I have steadily been moving that eye down the more I draw these characters. We're going to start like that. Oh, so how's this look? think that's about accurate. I've considered Q&As, but the main problem is, at least until we reach the planet, there are just so many spoilers that I would have to say, no, I can't answer your question. So hey, there's an eye bone. And a pupil bone. Thanks. This is at least the third iteration, maybe fourth or more. It's coming along pretty well. Okay, as for this arm, I don't actually know how they usually model 3D characters, but actually the eye is probably a texture most of the time. But I very much bet that simple, like Kirby and Ness and Smash Brothers, I bet they have eye bones as well. Not that Ness has pupils. So yeah, when I previously made this armature, it was aligned to the outer one, which is where the vertices were. But now the main vertices are inner. So I think it's about time to start rigging, and yeah, I think we're going to start here. Well, obviously all of these are... Oh, come on, leave that open. We're going to assign them to the left shoulder because they just follow the shoulder. I think. These are sort of halfway, so we're going to do weight assigned to the left shoulder with that, and left arm 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, left arm 0 through 3. And this one is a little bit on the shoulder and a little bit on 0. This one is mostly on 0. And a little bit on 1. Actually, this one, it should be higher weight on there. Okay. This is mostly 2, but there'll be a little of 1, a lot of 2, and the 3 will control it a little bit. So what I'm doing, for those of you who didn't watch the last one, all these bones in here, I'm telling Blender which vertices follow which bones. So the general rule is whichever bone is closest to the vertex controls it. But sometimes you want it to take into account nearby bones more. But once this is all set up, this is called rigging. Once all the rigging is done, I will be able to move the bones and thereby move the vertices. Okay, but just saw your question from earlier. I guess I'll have to answer that. Went over that at the start of the stream. Yeah, the stuff around the arm is exactly how the outline works. Sorry, we got shoulder 0, 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute, did I signed it wrong. This should not have anything to do with 3. Should have less to do with 2, more to do with 1, and a little bit to do with 0. I was off. This one is between 1 and 2, somewhere around halfway. This one, 1, pretty close to 2. And let's take 3 into account some as well. We're finally getting to the end. And once this is done, we get to do it again for the outline. Just the further we go here, the more control number 3 has. And so I think that's all nicely assigned. And actually, if we go into the armature and thought we had a pose or an animation. Okay, we'll go into the pose. We do have an animation, okay, and none of the vertices are working. Yeah. Back to rest position. So somewhere in here was edit mode, pose. Okay, we want object mode. We want to go here, and I think there's also a modifier. Armature. Armature. And so now we might be able to... Yes, okay. The animations I've already done. Are controlling this arm. Let's turn that back. So currently the outline is not following the arm, which makes it a little harder to see, but we can look in and see that. currently only the leg. So the problem here is that this is mirrored from this, except the mirror modifier doesn't work quite so well with the armature modifier. Also, and it's not just that, I think it's also that the modifiers are out of order. And if we return to object mode, and we go in here and we put the modifiers in a different order, we might be able to go back to the pose and... okay, yeah. So the order of modifiers matters, and I don't have any special tips for remembering this order other than if you getting weird results, try putting the modifiers in the other order. Okay, so actually I'm going to do some quick assigning some quick things. We are going to do that and give a quick add a armature modifier. Actually, maybe the tip is armature always goes on top. And over here, we just the body uses the body, and I'm going to name these things. Okay. And now we can go and do an armature modifier. And we can go assign, nice and quick. And with that, if we go into the pose again, the entire body moves with and does the whole squish thing, including the outline, which is nice. Yeah, we're gonna keep adding more parts to the animation, but for a lot of them, it's going to be this tedious process. So over here, so these ones are going to be left shoulder and just assign. These are also going to be left shoulder, but not fully. Mostly left shoulder and a little bit of left arm 0. These are going to be almost entirely left arm 0, but a tiny bit of left shoulder and tiny but slightly larger bit of left arm 1. And these shoulder 0, 1, these are going to be almost entirely left arm 1. But a tiny bit of 0. And a little bit more of 2. And then these are a lot of 2, a little of 1, and like a tiny amount of 3. From here on out, it's mostly 3. Like this one is around 50-50. This one is mostly 3. Whoops. Mostly 3 and a little bit of 2. And these are all just 3. And so now we get to answer the question of how does it actually look when... No, we don't get to answer that question yet because I forgot the modifier. Wait. Okay. And now we get to answer that question. Yep, looks good. So yeah, the main question is, does it follow the arm well when the arm is bent at weird angles? This angle is a little too weird. I think I will need to adjust the rigging. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, the fact that you can see further in actually does make this worse. On account of... You can see the arm doing weird angles in there. And that's not really the point. I mean... This might just be a rigging problem. I'm going to go with that for now, actually. If I go back here and we go... I don't know, what if all of this was literally just left arm 0 and we actually removed... In fact, what if we removed the shoulder part entirely? Then what this would look like is yeah, it would just sort of keep going in the direction that the arm is going, which looks a lot more reasonable, I would say, than whatever it was doing before, you know? Like, I'm not gonna focus on like moving the camera close to this in game, but just get a single image. If you get a single image like that, still frame, still shot, it looks about like how I draw the arm from that angle, with maybe a little less curvature. But the little less curvature is something I can fix by just adjusting, moving the vertices. And in fact, I do plan to do that. But yeah, overall, I think that's a lot better. And I need to do that. Right, I definitely need to do that for these as well. Get rid of that entirely. Oh. Yeah, we're going to remove that and just delete and those are there. And I don't know, I couldn't really see that any issues with that before, but if there were, they're gone now. And yeah, it looks pretty nice from most angles. There is still obviously that's not going away, possibly ever. But yeah, it could be a lot worse. Okay, what's that? I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm glad that comes back there. Oh! Okay, that is literally just the antenna because it didn't move. All the stuff that didn't move. So let's fix that by making the antenna move. Yeah, I'm working on it. Gonna make it less terrifying one step at a time. And actually, one step at a time. So first, we're going to rest position, and we're going to add some rigging for an antenna. I think we need a lot of these. I'm gonna say 5. Actually, before I do that, it would be a lot easier if that was not rotated. Okay, I hate it. We're going to need to redo that, which I was kind of planning to anyway. We're going to add a cylinder with that many. One thing after another getting in the way of stuff, but needs to be done. Okay, hang on, we're backing it up. This is the local z-axis, but this object isn't rotated, and that object isn't rotated. So why does it look rotated? Yeah, these are... each circle is just centered on the z-axis. So the local z-axis is rotated, but the object is not rotated. Is there a modifier doing this? Doesn't have any vertex groups. I don't think they have the concept of winking. They have other facial expressions for being sly. Okay, that fixed it. I just had to remove the parent and then add the parent again. Failed to update. Okay. So yeah, our T-posing runner is now, these are now going to be perfectly vertical, which is never going to be realistic, but it is going to make it a lot easier to do a rig. So we're going to put that there, and then okay, it's looking more like 6. That should hopefully be enough for this purpose. And as long as we're here, we're going to mouth bones. Because in 3D, everything has bones, even things that aren't supposed to have bones. I could do something else for mouths, but at some point I will. In fact, I'm thinking I'm going to do it now. Delete. Yeah, we're going to do something a lot fancier with the mouth. And this is going to be like that. It shouldn't currently be visible. Oh, that's why. Okay. Still shouldn't be visible. That's why. Okay. And now we do another modifier. Okay, I'm sorry, what's... I bet the normals didn't flip properly. No? Blender tries to provide options for Okay, we're going to keep it simple for now. So I don't know if this is helpful, but it does give more, like when I rig this, it'll give more control over the exact shape of the mouth with because I won't be editing these vertices in Blender all the time. Okay. That's a little better. Actually, I don't need that at all. As long as it's pitch black, which could actually change now. As long as it's pitch black, interesting. I might have to make the vertices transparent or something. But yeah, now I have more vertices to rig up, and that means if I want to make different mouth shapes using only rigging, that's more likely to be possible. Just saw your question from earlier. Joints. Pretty much not. Material is a lot more flexible than that. So what are these weird lines? That's what they are. Okay. No, I don't think I can make it invisible. I need... Okay. Anyway, I was going to rig stuff. Yeah, they're very flexible. More so than has been shown in most of the cutscenes. Something like that. No, the zombie is... the zombie's anatomy... Like, I would probably have to redraw it or model it. Because it is not authoritative. It's not entirely accurate. So I think that's about all I need. And I can rig some more stuff. Armature. Armature. No, before I do that, I need to name... So that's a lot of stuff there, but I'm hoping it will give me more fine control. And I may even have to add more because facial expressions are complicated. And the way I do it, it's all in the shape. And so I need really fine control over that shape. I already have the modifier. Actually, I think I have learned my lesson. You don't ever actually use the base. It's hard to see. Okay, so there's 0, there's 1. So we're looking for about 50-50. Wait a minute, did I get that? Yeah. So we're now at 1, mostly 1. And a little bit of 2. So we have 0, 1. Yeah, we're still between 1 and 2. So 1 gets a little bit, and 2 gets a lot more weight. Now we're between 2 and 3. So yeah, 2 still gets a bunch of weight, and 3 gets a decent amount. Ooh, this is almost exactly 3. So 2 will only get a little bit, and 4 will only get a little bit. This is more 4 than 3. This is more 4 than 5. And that's all 5. To minimize distortion, we're just assigning a single group. Easy to rig these things. I just need to go and do a modifier. Armature. Armature. And up. And likewise. I am getting a lot more comfortable working with these things. First time I did this on stream, I flailed around for, I don't know, was it at least 10 minutes? maybe more if you count time I spent trying to look it up online. I flailed around for a long time just trying to figure out how to assign anything to any armature at all. And I found a shortcut to do it, and it assigned it, and everything was messed up, but that was fine because I could at least edit it to make it less messed up. Anyway. Yeah, the thing to realize is you just have to type in the exact same name as you're using it. Also, the thing I need to realize is that I have it copied so I can reuse it. I can just go paste and insert the number. I'm not sure the exact numbers matter, only the relative numbers. So, because I set a higher weight on 2 than 3, the exact position of 2 is going to matter a lot more than the exact position of 3, but they're both going to influence this. And actually, I'm going to go and give one this one is going to influence this just a little. Okay, I think that's 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is 3. This is what I did, wasn't it? I might give it a revamp. The light bridge, I mean. But I guess that's TBD. Okay, that antenna should be all nice and rigged. These have not been rigged, so we're going to do that. As I've discovered, usually the call is you want to attach them to whatever's closest, but with arms and legs, this one, you don't actually want to use the angle of this one, because it's sort of an intermediate thing, just to have something that attaches to the main central piece, but gets over here. You don't rig any vertices up to it directly. So instead, everything here actually everything here is going to attach up to left leg 0. And it's just sort of whichever way this bone is pointing, all of this is going to follow. Likewise for this, but leg 1 will have a slight say. about 50-50. There. Oh, cool. I can actually directly look at it. I'd never noticed that. Probably because I never had this open. Okay, that's a really useful feature that I wish I knew about earlier, because there were times when I was wondering, did I assign something to this? I can probably go ahead and do a weight of 1. It's okay if it adds up to more than 1. Have something with a weight of 1 and something else with a little bit of influence. Okay, this one. Same deal up here. All of this is just... I said... Did it? Oh, okay. It did. Oh, hey, anybody remember this song? Oh, I need to add the modifiers. That's what. Armature. Up. Okay, let's go take a look. Let's enable animation and go take a look. Whoops. There we are. Modifier? Yeah, there's a modifier. Okay, the problem was I didn't rig it. Oh, right, because I got sidetracked. I need to name stuff. Oh boy, there's a lot to name. There's a lot of rigging to do. Oh, and it's not even... okay, I need to... I do need... that about right? Actually, I want it to be symmetrical, so length 0.054 length. Gonna match that length. 0.061. Up and down don't need to match as closely. Yeah, I think in the long run I'm going to just make an entire armature for everything. But I will be able to copy-paste the rigging. It's just that the mouth was not working correctly when I just tried to mirror it, so... There we are. Okay, I'm going to so up, we're going to assign up and a little bit left. And I'm just going to do every single vertex individually, because it's that complicated. A little more left. Still pretty far up. Less up. More left. Very left. Not very up. And maximum left. I should be copy-pasting values, though. Oh, I know. So these two are... Those two are that. I'm not doing them individually, I'm doing them symmetrically. Right. Six. It'll be easy if it just goes 2, 4, 6, 8. That'll be easiest to remember. However, I messed that up because these are now assigned to the right when they should be assigned to the left. Yeah, not right. Left. 8. There we go. Right. Okay, I think that covers now we're... Yeah, those are a little more skewed. But that's fine. Down. I think these are even. Good. And I think that covers all the inside ones. So now we go over here, and we add some more of these. I'm not even going to be animating the mouth today, I'm just rigging it. End goal being to be able to see the animation that has already been shown on stream last time I was modeling. It was more rigging than I was actually intending to do, but as long as I'm this far in, I might as well. So up. Fully up. Mostly up. Pretty far up. About halfway up. And not very far up. Oh no, Oh yes, okay. I thought I was assigning to the wrong thing, but no, I am assigning to the right thing. A little bit down. About halfway down. Further. Most of the way, and all the way. Now, same with left and right. Left is on the right of my screen. We're talking about the runner's left. Left. All right, for left and right, I'm just doing 2, 4, 6, 8. 6, 4, 2, 'Finally. Legs. I don't think I've rigged the legs yet. No, I have rigged the legs. I think I have everything but the eye and pupil. I can select everything but the pupil. think that's... No, I need to assign the armature. More to do. We're almost ready to test it. And I think that's it. Most of the stuff has it assigned, and if there isn't something, then I guess we'll find out the hard way. Okay, so first things first. I want to make the antenna better. Rotation, we're going to insert... Yeah, we're going to lock all of these things. Actually, I'm not worried about scale. But just to be safe, I feel it's best if frame 0 is kept in the T-pose. And that means locking absolutely everything. Making a keyframe for absolutely everything. Both on frame 0 and on frame 1. Oh, and actually, the mouth is going to scale. So I'm going to lock those as well. And also it's not going to rotate as much, but I guess with the proper smirk you could get a rotation in there. Oh yeah, that's... Oh, I need something, I need more in there. I think. Yeah, I need to be able to push the pupil in and out. I need to be able to... Yeah, okay. I'm not done rigging. Armature. Okay, so this is gonna go... This is gonna go in here, and we're going to pull it back out like that. And we're going to name things. This one's name does not actually matter. It will never be attached to anything. For lack of a better name, I was just thinking, yeah, it's not actually focusing, but it's... Okay, it's a little tough to explain what it's doing and why. Yeah. But, so anyway, back to the pose. Okay, so that thing's locked. This one still needs to be locked. What else? Huh, these have keyframes, so... better lock them. Okay. Oh yeah, this was just a simple waving animation. But as long as we're here, we're going to insert some keyframes and actually gonna make the antenna look better. Yeah, this is a little closer to what the antenna should look like. And I only need it to be vertical for the T-pose so that I could rig them properly. But the moment we're out of T-pose, I want to stick the antenna in a better position. And you know what? Let's go and do... Okay, so now you can kind of see how this mouth is different from the whole. Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, I forgot to set the keyframe. Set the keyframe, and now the expression will stay the exact same the entire time, but... Okay, we're going to set some more keyframes for stuff that's about to change for the next animation. Probably that, too. We're going to so now we get to see how well the antennas hold up to, you know, being distorted. I would say that's okay. The legs need to be fixed. There, that's better. The legs need to be closer together. Kind of like that. Oh, wait. No, what am I doing? Right, so what I forgot was that we're doing a wind-up animation. And that has never been... Okay. Now back to the antenna. Okay, so... Okay, we're not messing with that. Over here, anticipation, and just following the movement. These are going to bend this way. I'm going to save all those keyframes. Huh. Those apparently did not need to change. But yeah, because of squatting down, they follow like that. But then the frame later, oh wait, no, 2 frames later, we're gonna go start bending the exact opposite direction. Actually, hang on. No, it's not 2 frames later. It's going to take about that long, I would say. And this is what's called tweening in animation. You define the start and end points of whatever motion you want to make, and whatever program you're using can automatically figure out what's in between. And so between turns into the word tween because, I don't know, it's shorter and faster to say. And okay, our end point needs to be significantly more bent. So yeah, this is one keyframe, starting point, and then push off, and it goes like that. And then it kind of stays like that. We're going to give it 2 frames to stay like that. Before okay, and then somewhere around here, it has reset to falling. I'm going to want to adjust that a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so around here we're going to add some more keyframes so that the antenna can react properly to the landing. And they're actually going to be behind everything else, so 1 frame after the rest of the body has started bouncing back, the antenna will reach as far as they're going to reach. I'm sure other people can animate pretty well in 2D animation programs, but this is my opinion, or in my experience, this is the fastest I have ever been able to animate. Actually, animation. Excellent. Okay, so I just grabbed all of those keyframes and moved them one frame later because I want it to happen one frame later. And also, I'm going to want it to be bent more. And somewhere around here, hang on. So I have selected a bunch of keyframes and I am going to copy paste them. Only these ones though. And I'm going to put them all the way out there. And what that means is that at the very end, things will return to how they were at the very beginning, which I might need to adjust. Now what if we saw it without the... I should copy some more values. Oop, a lot of values. But I only care about the ones on this vertical line, which is the frame where all this started. and I want those to be the values at the very end as well. And with that, it should loop perfectly. Oh man, it's going to be hard to... Okay, that's something I was trying to avoid. I forget how. See you later. I think I'm almost done here. Oh. Re-rigging necessary. Let's go do that quickly. Re-rigging done. I really need to rig that better in order to get this to work. You can't even see it. Yeah, I was supposed to move. But it's only barely, if anything. I know, I just realized a bunch of things I can change. Okay, so the pupil needs correction pretty badly. Data. Man, it's off. Should go. I should just go copy this. I'm gonna wait for Cradle to load once again. Excellent. Okay. Saved it, and We're actually just going to delete that. Make a little sphere. And that's going to be the pupil, which is so much better. But we also do need to adjust the armature. Because that is just nonsense. In fact, we probably want it to line up more like that. Yeah, we're gonna do that and name it that, and that will give us a little more control over angles and stuff. Now I want to go back into that animation. clear a bunch of keyframes because some of them are messed up. Okay. Now this gives us oh, but before I do any of this, I do want to go back into the armature and relations, inherit rotation, inherit scale. Aha! None. Okay, I need to just do this by hand the entire time. For every single new bone. I bet Blender has a thing that I can just apply this setting to everything in one fell swoop, but I don't know what it is. Like, canonically, do all these bones exist? No, this is for animating. For animation purposes, everything needs to have bones, even things that don't have literal bones. Okay, I already went through and did that for all these. Okay. With that, we can go back into posing. And... or I thought we could go back into posing. Okay. We can bring this down. And we can pull it in, and now that we've made all those other settings, it won't actually scale the eye at all. It'll just change where the eye is positioned. The antennas seem a little long. So I thought there was a way to set a playback preview separate frame. There it is, okay. Still really subtle. Except for a part that I don't want to be subtle. So... However, this part... What? What's this? Why? Okay, I got things on the wrong frame, but fortunately, Blender makes it easy to spot that. And easy to... Oh wait, no, it... Okay, it's not quite so easy. Actually, I think that worked. Yeah, if I do that, it just overwrites. Good. still subtle, but it's there. That's a little more. Okay, excellent. I think I'm going to leave this here. The antennae are a little hard to see. There we go. Antennae are going to be a bit of a problem overall. Yeah, I would work on the expression. I'd work on a lot of things, honestly. But I think for now, that's pretty good. Like, the thing I started, I came here to work on is how these arms and legs look from the side, and I think they look pretty good. You can always tell where the arm is, and there aren't too many frames on which there's a kind of unnecessary line. Yeah, there are very few frames, and it doesn't actually look weird like you're looking inside, even though you are. You know, the thing... You're seeing an object that's buried inside, but you don't see that from further back. So far good, so good. Oh yeah, I was going to ask, is there a problem with the antenna like this? And do I need to do the fancy thing? And my thought is no. It's really not worth it. I mean, there are some angles that you get to see a little more than you should. A little more border than you should. And like if we showed the extra, then at least that would be contiguous. But for the most part, it's fine. Especially from further back where you can barely see any detail on the antenna anyway. The arms and legs might need to be a little bit bigger. The arms do need to be adjusted, like remodeled a bit. Yeah, like I haven't stopped, or I don't mean to have stopped Tuesday streams. It's just been lately. I'm working on coding stuff, and I want to get to a point where I can show that on stream, because in terms of getting an update out, I need to do coding. Yeah, I think at this point, given how many difficulties I ran into using the fancy shader, I think this wins out. Yeah, I think we're just going to get rid of all that. We only need a single shader for this, and it's a very simple one. Display the color. Yeah, the expression does need some adjustment, though. Pose. Okay, the mouth has stayed the same this whole time. You can at least do a bigger smile. In any case, I think that's about it for this stream. I'm not about to start a new big task at this point. So. I will. I guess I will answer the last question and then I will see you later. Backwards levels. I guess it's related to backwards levels in that it will help solve the issue. But it's a bigger thing overall. So anyway, I will see you hopefully Tuesday. I will be ready to show any of the new coding stuff. Talk about it.